congratulations, by the way. This must be really a happy time for you and your family. So I was thinking about this last night. I saw you do the interviews on the MLB Network, and then when you were at the podium at the St. Regis yesterday, throughout your career, you were always talking about team. It was about the team. You didn't like talking about yourself. Is this uncomfortable these last couple of days?
You know what? To be honest with you, the last couple of days have been a whirlwind. So everything's happened so quickly. I mean, you're just sitting around, you're waiting for a phone call, you're anxious, you're nervous. It happens, and then there's so many things going on. But, like you said, Michael, I mean, it's always an uncomfortable situation for me to be talking about myself because we're playing, a team game. But now I guess it's okay to talk about it a little bit.
Yes, it is. I remember your dad used to tell me, he said, I wish Derek would stop and enjoy the journey rather than just worry about where he's getting to. Well, you got to where you wanted to go. You got 5 championships. I don't know if the Hall of Fame was ever something that you aspired to. Are you enjoying this journey, or will you still need time to separate yourself?
You know what? I think I will have. It hasn't set in yet, so I think it will when I get a little time by myself. Because, like I said, everything's happened so quickly these last couple of days, and then I get a chance. I have to go back home tomorrow. So I'm sure tomorrow when I'm sitting around and get a chance to think about it, maybe it will. But maybe it might take until this summer before it actually does. But it's been quite the last 36 hours.
Being involved in this business and you being there the entire time I've been in the business, it's been kind of a foregone conclusion for so long you were going to get to the Hall of Fame. But for you, when did you start even thinking about that it was a possibility?
I tried not to. I know people, when I say that to people, they don't believe me, but I really tried not to think about it. Even over the last, month or two, when people would come up to me and they congratulate me and say, whoa, I don't even want to talk about this, because you can't just automatically assume that someone's going to put you in the Hall of Fame. That's the highest honor.
Speaking of which, Derek, obviously there's been a lot talked about here on Talk Radio and among fans about unanimous. You were one vote shy. Does it make any difference to you? Was it on your mind whatsoever?
No. It takes, it's very hard to get that many people to agree on anything. So I tend to focus on the votes that I got in order to get into the Hall of Fame. So, no, I don't think about that.
See, Derek, that's why you were able to achieve what you achieved, because I would be fixated on the one person that didn't vote.
He's not lying.
I would search the world. I would find out who it was, and I'd go, I want to know why. And it doesn't seem like it bothers you at all.
Well, I'll leave that to you. So you search the world and find out why, and then let me know.
You know what? I will. If it's the last thing I do, I'm going to find out who didn't vote for you, because I don't understand it, because you had of all the things you accomplished in your career, what's the thing you're most proud of?
Winning. That's it. Bottom line. That's why you play the game. I was fortunate to play for a long time. I was fortunate to play on one team, the only team I ever wanted to play for. And you're playing to win. And, we won 5 championships, and I still think about the ones that sort of slipped away. But, it's winning. That's what you play the game for.
Is there any moments that you think about?
There's a lot of moments. There's a lot of moments that I think about. There's a lot of moments. I've had special milestones and during my career. And, the thing is you hear Michael's voice for pretty much all of them. So
I'm sorry about that. That's the one downside.
No, you don't have to apologize. So forever, I guess we're kind of linked there, Michael. But
I'm sorry for you, but I'm happy for me.
Yeah, I've been asked that one too, but I guess it's a little unfair because it's freshest in my mind. But the last game at Yankee Stadium, which ironically meant absolutely nothing because it's the only game I played where we've been eliminated. But to get a chance to share that last game with the fans who in New York, which, my mind is the greatest fans in the world, but to get a chance to share that my career with them, that last game was pretty special.
When you had your first season in professional ball and you made, I think 56 errors, did you think this is not going to happen? I'm just not good enough?
I was completely overmatched, yeah. So your confidence starts to waver a little bit. And I thought I made a mistake, and I should have gone to college first. And how am I going to turn this around? What's going to happen? But, everyone deals with adversity. It's just how you overcome it. And I think that made me a little bit stronger mentally, and I think it helped prepare me for New York.
Now, speaking of New York, I've been talking about you the last couple of days, and one thing I keep bringing up is I was amazed, watching as closely as I was for your whole career, that you never seem to make a misstep. And New York chews people up and spits them out. And two of your teammates had troubles, and Strawberry and Gooden, they found, New York found trouble for them. You seem like you were able to always do the right thing, Derek. Was that by design, or was it by happenstance, luck? Was it your upbringing? What do you think it was?
Well, look, everyone makes mistakes. Everyone faced with difficult situations, and I always just tried to surround myself with people that would help keep me out of trouble. And look, I talked about this years ago. Going into my second year, Darryl Strawberry sat me down, and he told me what to expect, and he shared with me some of the mistakes he made. And I've always just relied on other people's experiences, and I think that's how you learn, both good and bad. So, yeah, I'd like to think that, I had a great support group around me that helped me through some of those times.
You're thrown right to the Wolves. 96, win a championship, 98, 99, so 3 championships in your first 4 years, and then 4 in the first 5. How much was being around the 95 team, even though you weren't eligible to play? How much was just being around October 95 help you get ready for when you did get a chance to play?
Huge. It was huge just to see what the playoff atmosphere was like. I mean, especially in New York. I mean, it's a completely different atmosphere. And, like you said, I wasn't able to play, but to be able to watch guys and watch how they prepared and see how every single pitch meant so much, I think that really helped me out.
Obviously, when people look back on your career, you've had a lot of rivals and people you played against, and people always picture the Red Sox, of course. Are there any players, 2 or 3 in particular, that when you think of your great foes and people you went up against, you think about the most?
Yeah, I think from a hitter standpoint, obviously the matchups with Pedro. I mean, Pedro, Schilling, these guys in Boston, and Randy Johnson, Schilling in Arizona. I mean, but the toughest one on me was Roy Halladay. And, I always said that I thought Pedro had the best stuff in baseball, but Roy was the toughest one for me. So these are some of the matchups that come to mind, just right now.
All of your numbers that are going to be on your plaque, the one that stands out to me, 310 lifetime batting average, 308 in 158 postseason games. So you were not overwhelmed by the big stage. How did you make that happen? Other players, it seems like it speeds up, and you seem like you treated it like a game in May.
Because it was like a game in May. It's still the same game. It's baseball. So whether it's, a game in spring training or Game 7 of the World Series, you're still playing the same game. And I always prided myself on being prepared. I think that's how you hear athletes talk about the game slowing down. I think it slows down when you're prepared. If you're not, that's when it tends to speed up. So I never wanted to be caught off guard. I wanted to think about situations before they actually happened, and I wasn't afraid to fail. I failed a lot. Michael, you probably see me fail more than anyone, but I failed a lot. But anytime I was in those situations, I sort of went back into the tank and relied on some of those moments when I had success and just wasn't afraid to fail. I thought I had a lot of confidence, and I always thought I was going to succeed.
You never were nervous in those big situations?
I had butterflies.
Uh-huh.
I always told people, if you don't have butterflies, it means you don't care. But I enjoyed them. I mean, those were the moments that you live for.
You were always a leader, and that's why you became captain in 2002, I think it was, when you were officially named the captain. Did you feel any responsibility being named the captain as opposed to just always being the leader you were before you were named it?
When the boss called me and he had said he wanted to name me the captain, the first thing he said is I don't want you to do anything different. I want you to continue to do and continue to act the way that you've been acting up until this point. And so, obviously you have to be vocal sometimes. You don't always do it in a group. Sometimes you do it one-on-one, and you have to get to know your teammates, know what buttons to push. But lead by example. That's first and foremost. You have to practice what you preach.
I was always fascinated by your relationship with George Steinbrenner. Other people were intimidated. You used to joke around with him. What was that like? How much do you miss him? What do you think he would think about this right now?
I like to think he'd be pretty proud. I mean, we had a great relationship, and it started with the whole Ohio State-Michigan rivalry. And, Boss is someone, he would challenge you. He would challenge his best players. And if you back down from him, he'd be all over you. But, I've always respected him. I'd like to think he respected me. We both thought the same. It was you either win or the season was a failure. And I had that approach, that mindset from day one.
Derek, I'm sorry, but if he was here now, you wouldn't have much ammunition in Michigan against Ohio State.
Thanks for bringing that up. I think it's supposed to be a positive phone call. Right? That's for the next one.
Another guy just retired. He's going to retire tomorrow. Did you ever have any interaction with Eli Manning? And from afar, what your thoughts about Eli Manning?
I did. I had some interactions. Obviously, I had known his brother a little bit better. But I've touched base with Eli throughout the years. And what a joy to watch. I mean, Eli's someone that, he took the field week in and week out. Regardless of how he felt, he was fun to watch. He had a great deal of success. He won a couple championships, which is not easy to do. And Eli's someone that I've respected for not only how he's played the game on the field, but more importantly, how he's handled himself off the field. And, I think all New York Giants football fans are going to miss him.
Michael brought up the temptations of New York, and you were always be able to stay so clean. Was there any temptations? You lived in the PED era. Not that you needed it, but did you ever feel any temptation or any weakness at all to stray from the path that you were on?
No. I played for one thing. It wasn't for personal numbers. It was to win, and so that was what's top of mind for me. I mean, I was just as happy hitting a ground ball to second base or to move a guy over or to lay down a sacrifice bunt as to hit a home run. So, we played the game to win, and the boss, he recognized that, and he rewarded us for that.
You love to win so much. I mean, it was all about that for you. Just watching you, I knew that it was about that for you. Even if you got 5 hits and you lost, you were not happy. You'd be happier 0 for 5 in a win. So how are you handling the losing as the owner of a team that's being rebuilt and going through a struggle?
Yeah, thanks for reminding me of that, too.
Michael, you're on a real roll with this guy.
They're good news here.
No,
I got to call him more often.
Please do. Give you a weekly.
No, hey, look, it's frustrating. It is very frustrating. What people have to understand, though, is we took over an organization that had been struggling. It had been in the postseason in 15 years. And, we gotta build an organization the right way, and I think we're making strides in that direction. Ultimately, organizations are judged on wins and losses at the major league level, which I understand. And but right now we're building the organization. We're building it the right way. It's frustrating. I preach patience. I don't have any. It's very frustrating in this position because when you're coming from playing on the field and have an opportunity to affect the outcome of a game, you can't do it from a front office ownership position. But we're getting the right people in place, and we'll be there sooner rather than later.
Listening to this interview, listening to you, it frustrates me to a certain point because the way you are is the way all athletes should be, but it seems like this generation of athlete is more about themselves. They're more about the numbers, not thinking about the team, putting themselves ahead of the team, pointing at the back of their jersey after they score a touchdown or hanging on the rim. When you're dealing with young players and trying to bring them into the organization, do you see that there is a difference between the generations and there aren't as many players that think the way you do?
Well, I think you can't. I think you can't stereotype all athletes in the generation. I also think, now this day and age, everything is, analytics is taking over the game. There's so many different formulas that rate players, and it's all about what you do as an individual, and that's how people are compensated. It's the bottom line, and I came up in a time where we were compensated for one thing, and that was winning, and we won, and therefore we were all taken very well care of, and we had an opportunity to stay with the organization for a long time. But, winning is what you play for, and that's why you should play. That's why you should compete. And, I think, people, they say they want to win, but you have to be willing to make sacrifices in order to do it.
The 2000 World Series, the Subway Series, obviously that's a different thing now. Interleague play happens all the time. How special did that feel? Was there something incredibly unique about it at the time?
Yeah, it was all eyes in New York City was on that and the Subway Series. And I've said it before, if we would have lost that series, I think I would have moved out of Manhattan because, it would be tough to be walking around the streets of Manhattan with all these Yankee fans, and we didn't come out on top. But it's probably one of the most fun series that I played in. And fortunately for us, we played a great Mets team, but fortunately for us, we were able to win it.
How's it like being a daddy?
It's thanks for asking. See, now you're trying to make up for it.
Yeah.
You're trying to end on a good note.
There you go.
It is. It's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable feeling. It's something that I would have struggled with during my career because, when you're in your career, it's a very selfish time. But, it's the best feeling that you can possibly have. And it's ecstatic. I have 2 daughters, and it's the greatest thing that's happened to me.
Awesome. I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud of you. I want to congratulate you. And we were joking about it before. It was my honor to be, just along for the ride. And if people connect me and my voice to your great moments, that's enough for me. And I'm really happy about that association. And I'm proud to say that I got to announce your Hall of Fame career.
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate everything you've done for me.
All right. Thank you, Derek. Enjoy.
Congratulations.
Thanks again.
All
Appreciate
right.
it, guys.
That's Derek Jeter.